You want to know how I can tell the Denver Broncos are about to shake up the AFC West? Because even the top voices covering the Chiefs, Chargers, and Raiders are giving Denver serious respect. We broke down every single position group across the division: quarterbacks, running backs, you name it. And the Broncos consistently came out looking strong. If you're a fan of this team, there's a lot to get excited about. Let's dive in, starting with the quarterbacks. Rank them 1 through 4, 1 being the best, 4 the worst, based on who you'd take right now to lead your team this season. Here's how it played out. Number 1, no surprise, Patrick Mahomes. Love him or hate him, he's still the standard. At number 2, Bo Nix. Yes, that's right, Nix. He was 6th in the NFL in passing touchdowns last season and showed serious promise despite being a rookie without a true TE1. He's finally got continuity in his offensive system for the first time since Auburn, and that matters. 3rd, Justin Herbert. While he's more proven, his production last season didn't separate him from the pack. He and Nix finished with the same number of playoff wins, 0, and Herbert had the better roster on paper. Still, Nix arguably outperformed him in several key areas. And 4th, Geno Smith. Turnovers were a major issue last year, and despite having weapons like DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, he led the league in interceptions. Yes, he still racked up over 4,000 yards, but decision-making and ball security were clear concerns. Bottom line, right now, if you're ranking based on what they showed last season and their trajectory going forward, it's Mahomes, Nix, Herbert, and Smith. And that should have the Broncos fan base feeling more confident than ever. Let's be real. When we're talking about performance right now, it has to be based on what's happening on the field today, not what happened years ago. And while Geno Smith caught some heat for his 21 touchdowns and 15 interceptions last season, there's more to the story. He's heading back indoors, where he's consistently performed well, and is now playing with a revamped supporting cast. With Pete Carroll still guiding the ship, Smith finally has a legitimate ground game behind him. The addition of Byron Gentry, a potential star at running back, could completely change the offense's dynamic. Tight end Brock Bowers gives him a reliable and explosive weapon over the middle, and the offensive line, while still developing, has serious upside. Guys like Jack Beck and Dante Thornton might not be household names yet, but they bring speed and versatility to this unit. And keep your eye on Jacob, who might be one of the most overlooked playmakers in the league. That said, when ranking the current QBs in the AFC West, based on talent, trajectory, and supporting cast, it's hard to argue against this order. Mahomes first, Herbert second, Geno third, and Bo Nix rounding it out at 4th. Now let's shift to the offensive lines in the division. Right now, the Chargers get the edge at number 1, especially if Mekhi Becton can stay healthy. That's a big if, considering his injury history. But if he's on the field, that unit is elite. Surprisingly, Denver comes in at number 2, not just because of system fit, but because of pure talent. Garrett Bowles is playing at a high level, and Quinn Miners has emerged as one of the top interior linemen in football. This group isn't flashy, but they're dominant in both pass protection and run blocking. The Chiefs slide into 3rd. They've got talent, especially at center, but have some question marks on the edges. And last, the Raiders. There's potential there, but it's mostly unproven. Jackson Powers-Johnson is a name to watch, and while he's got the attitude and confidence you love to see, the rest of that line needs to show they can hold up over a full season. Analysts from PFF, ESPN, and The Ringer have all ranked the Broncos' offensive line as a top-tier unit, and it's well-deserved. They were quietly one of the most efficient lines in the NFL last year, and that continuity could make them even better in 2025. Bottom line, the AFC West is stacked with talent, but don't be surprised if Denver's offensive line is the one making all the difference this season. Let's talk offensive lines one last time before switching to the other side of the ball. Despite the hype around the Chiefs, their offensive line has struggled. Patrick Mahomes was sacked 6 times on 0 blitz plays alone last season, and Denver's defense hit him 9 times in one matchup where Kansas City played their starters. That's a serious red flag. Some of that blame falls on Alex Kappa, who ranked 53rd out of 58 qualifying guards last season. Far from what you want protecting your franchise quarterback. So here's the consensus offensive line ranking in the AFC West. Chargers, elite talent across the board, and if they stay healthy, it's not even close. Broncos, extremely efficient in both pass protection and run blocking. They're physical, consistent and quietly dominant. Raiders, some solid individual pieces but unproven as a complete unit. Chiefs, Mahomes masks a lot of problems, but this line is a concern. Some argue Denver should even take the top spot over LA, especially when you look at production last season. The Broncos were outstanding in both pass and run game metrics. The Chargers have the higher ceiling, but Denver has the stronger recent resume. Now let's flip it to the defensive lines in the division. Sure, Chris Jones and Max Crosby are the biggest names, arguably the two best defensive players in the AFC West. But when it comes to total production, the Broncos' D-line delivered the most in 2024. Check the numbers. Nick Bonito finished third in the NFL in sacks. Jonathan Cooper ranked 12th. Zach Allen came in at 22nd. No other team in the division had even one player in the top 20. The Broncos had 3. Now, health is a factor. Max Crosby missed some time and Malcolm Kuntz didn't play most of the year. The Raiders also added Christian Wilkins, who's easily a top 10 defensive tackle when healthy, but right now they're being cautious with a lingering foot issue that could require further surgery. Here's how the D-lines stack up based on both production and potential. Broncos, they led the way in sacks and have depth across the board. Raiders, a healthy Wilkins alongside Crosby and Kuntz makes this unit scary. Chargers, solid, but lacking the top-end dominance. Chiefs, Chris Jones is elite, but they lost another Pro Bowl-level player up front, and the depth isn't there right now. Overall, this is a division stacked with trench talent, but if we're going off what teams have actually done, the Broncos own the edge, both on offense and defense. Now let's finish up the defensive front before we jump into the linebacker units. When you take a close look at the Chiefs' defensive line, it's clear they've got Chris Jones, and he's elite, no argument there. But beyond him, it's a mix of unproven talent and aging veterans. George Karlaftis is promising, and Charles Omenihu is a solid rotational piece when healthy, but depth is a concern. The Chiefs also brought back veterans like Mike Pennell, who's 37, and Tershawn Wharton, but neither strikes fear into opposing offenses. Last year, the Broncos led the division in sacks. The Chiefs were at the top the year before. So if Kansas City can improve in closing plays and getting to the quarterback consistently, they could be in the conversation again. But right now, the edge still belongs to Denver. D-line rankings, AFC West, Broncos, most sacks in the division and strong across multiple positions. Chiefs, still dangerous thanks to Chris Jones, but depth is a concern. Raiders, injuries impacted their top pass rushers, but the potential is there. Chargers, too inconsistent last season to place any higher. Linebacker rankings. Now, let's break down the linebacker core across the division. The Broncos enter the year with major upside. If Dre Greenlaw returns to form after his Achilles injury and Alex Singleton recovers from his ACL tear, which he astonishingly played through mid-game, this could be the best unit in the division, but it's still unproven heading into the season. Kansas City, on the other hand, has consistency and depth. Their top 3 linebackers are all reliable, and they have young talent like Jeffrey Bassa waiting in the wings, which is a great problem to have. That gives them the current edge. Chargers have some strong pieces, but their unit lacks a true standout. And then there's the Raiders, who are relying heavily on unproven rookies and late-round picks to step up, like Cody Lindenberg and Tommy Eichenberg. They could surprise people, but for now, they round out the bottom. Linebacker rankings, AFC West, Chiefs, depth, versatility, and proven production. Broncos, potential to be number 1. 1 if their stars return to full strength. Chargers, solid, but no real game changers. Raiders, relying heavily on development and hope. This division is full of firepower in the trenches, but when it comes to linebacker play, the Chiefs have the edge, for now. If Greenlaw and Singleton bounce back strong, don't be surprised if Denver takes that top spot before the season's done. Let's wrap this up with a look at the secondaries across the AFC West. At the top, it's tight. Honestly, it's a 1A to 1B situation between the Broncos and Chiefs. Denver has 2 of the best cornerbacks in football, but Kansas City gets the slight edge for having more depth, especially at safety. That depth matters over the course of a long season. I'd place the Chargers next. They've got talent, but consistency and injuries have been issues. And then there's the Raiders, a young group full of raw talent. Pete Carroll is already working to mold them into a physical, disciplined unit, and it wouldn't shock me if this becomes a strength in the near future. But for now, they're still in the developmental stage. Secondary rankings, AFC West. Chiefs, deepest DB room, especially at safety. Broncos, elite top-end talent at corner. Chargers, playmakers, but inconsistent. Raiders, potential's there, just not proven yet. So wait a second, if we're saying Denver has a top 2 unit at every level of the defense, plus the second best offensive line, a quarterback playing elite indoors, and rookies like Brock Bowers and RJ Harvey set to make an impact. Yeah, the national media might be sleeping, but the AFC West creators see it. This is a team built to surprise people. If Bo Nix takes that year 2 leap and the young receivers break out, we're looking at a team that's not just playoff bound, but capable of a deep postseason run. And if you don't believe it yet, just ask Sean Payton. He sees it. He's shown it with how he's building this roster. The Broncos are coming, and it's time for the rest of the league to wake up.